this fight's gone under the radar. We were supposed to fight in 2020, obviously in London again, and COVID hit us, and we got cancelled, and we never ended up fighting. So I was gutted about that one because I've always wanted to fight Makwan. I think stylistically we put on a great fight for the fans, and I think two good high level wrestlers. Sometimes it always makes an interesting fight. A lot of people think it could just be a bit of a boring wrestling fight, but not with my scrambles and his scrambles, and I think it could be it could be a stand-up battle as well. So I'm interested in the fight. And
So let's start with where you're at, man. Usually you're at home when we do these interviews. It seems like you're not at home because you're talking about the Wi-Fi's not connected. So where are you at?
so this camp, I've changed a few things up. What I've done is I've moved into Liverpool. I live about like 1 hour from Liverpool originally. So usually I travel from my town to Liverpool every day, twice a day. So it's like a lot of travelling. So this time, what I did is I made sure I got an apartment in town, and I live right near where I train now. So it's a bit much better.
Why did you decide to move for this camp to Liverpool rather than like you normally do is drive back and forth?
Just because obviously when you're coming off a couple of losses, you've got to sit down and you've got to think, where's it kind of going wrong. So a lot of people, what they do, they start changing gyms or changing weights. When they've lost, they've started blaming it on the gym and stuff like that, or the coaches and whatever. But I think the first person you need to look at is yourself. And when I took a couple of losses, although there was close losses, but I sat down and thought, I need to change a couple of things this time. And one thing was my recovery wasn't great. I trained harder than anyone in the gym, but my recovery wasn't the best because I was travelling to and from training. Like I'm saving now 4 hours a day of travelling. I travel for 4 hours every day to training usually. So now I'm like saving myself 4 hours a day where I can do recovery. I just train, then I go to sleep, go back to training, go to sleep. That's it. So I'm just focused.
What does the recovery look like?
Yeah, I've seen a massive difference in just my focus as well. My focus for the fight and coming into training, I'm much fresher. I'm recovering much quicker now, and it's definitely made a world of difference, really.
Yeah, the focus, I think. Yeah, you're not as tired probably, right? Because you could sleep right during the day when you feel like there's any kind of fatigue.
Yeah, I can sleep, and I mean, I've got 3 kids, and 2 of them are young kids. So both of them still try and get in my bed at night time. So I'm barely sleeping when I'm at home because it's like 4 people in my bed. So yeah, definitely see the sleep difference.
Yeah, anybody with kids, they understand exactly what you're talking about, right? When they're so young.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. March 19th, man, you're back in action. Makwan Amirkhani. Thoughts on him and this matchup stylistically, because it's a fun one.
It is, yeah, and it's gone under the radar, to be honest. This fight's gone under the radar. We were supposed to fight in 2020, obviously in London again, and COVID hit us, and we got cancelled, and we never ended up fighting. So I was gutted about that one because I've always wanted to fight Makwan. I think stylistically we put on a great fight for the fans, and I think two good high level wrestlers. Sometimes it always makes an interesting fight. A lot of people think it could just be a bit of a boring wrestling fight, but not with my scrambles and his scrambles, and I think it could be it could be a stand-up battle as well. So I'm interested in the fight, and I'm looking forward to finishing him.
Yeah, like you said, he's pretty good in the scrambles, and yourself as well. You guys are never like still. You guys are always moving. You know what I mean? So it does make it a lot. Yeah, it is flying under the radar. You're right, man. Because when you look at the schedule for the fight card, that's one of the fights you see. You see those names, man. It's something that I think the fans of the UK are gonna appreciate when you guys step in.
I think so. Yeah, I think it's going to be one of them because it's not really been announced too much. Not many people really talked about it just yet. But on the night, I think people's going to be surprised when we come out and think, oh, they're excited for us to come out, and it's going to be a great fight. And I'm there to put on a show. I'm there to make a statement. Probably because it has gone under the radar. I want to make sure everyone knows that I'm there now.
When you look at his last couple of fights, right? He's on a 3-fight losing streak, but he's fought some killers, right? Laron Murphy, Essen Barbosa. How do you assess those performances by him?
Yeah, he's fought some great guys in the UFC. I think he's had something like 11 fights in the UFC. He's been around a long time, and he's fought everyone. But I look at the. I mean, he's had 3 tough losses. I think. He fought a guy who's come on quite a late notice, and he lost to that guy. He got a bad knockout against Laron. The knee, and I think Edson Barbosa was one of them. He's lost to Edson Barbosa, which is no shame in that. But yeah, he's come off some bad losses, I think, and I think this me matching up against me, the way he is when he fights, he kind of he gets tired. And with my pressure from my last fights, I think he's going to struggle with that pressure, and I think he's going to be more tired than he has against the other guys. So it's going to be a tough night for him.
You prepared for him back in 2020, like you mentioned earlier. Do you think he has evolved much since that time?
I don't think he has, to be honest. No, but sometimes Makwan shows some great skills, but it just depends which Makwan turns up on the night. Sometimes he's great, sometimes he's not so great, and like I say, how's he gonna cope with a high level wrestler? His A game is really his wrestling, I'd say. My A game's obviously my wrestling, but how's he gonna cope with somebody who's gonna be able to wrestle back and get him tired?
The fight will be in the UK. How good does it feel not to step on a plane, not to be worrying about jet lag?
Oh yeah, I mean, I've obviously fought in Japan, I've fought in Brazil before I got to the UFC. I fought in Texas now in the UFC. So I didn't really mind it too much, but it still does take its toll, when you're having to travel and you're going to the guy you're fighting in his back garden and stuff like that. It does still affect you. But yeah, it's going to be nice to fight on home soil in front of my own fans. And, where I got my last win was in that exact same arena. It was in London. It was my debut. So I'm going to have all them memories again, and I'm going to bring them back, and I'm going to get the same win again this time.
How much does that affect you? The emotions, the history of a place where you went and got a great victory. Does that bring anything to you when you step into this fight, or even in preparations for this fight?
Yeah, I think it will be even more so this time because I had a lot of fans there supporting me last time, and I felt the energy. I fed off the fans, and there's more going down this time from my hometown. There's obviously a lot going down watching Tom because he's from the same town as well. So there's a lot of fans there that's going to be there for me. So I feed off that energy, and my performance will be better than my debut this time.
Your last fight against Lando Venata, it went down to the wire, split decision. Going back and watching that over, the performance, and thinking about your preparations, do you feel like everything went, according to plan?
I mean, Lando was a tricky opponent. He's obviously a high level athlete. He's been up against some great fighters, like you said, like Tony Ferguson. You nearly finished Tony Ferguson. And he's been against Bobby Green twice, 2-3 times over. He's been against him a few times, a draw and a win, a loss, whatever he's had. But he's got some experience, and he showed that on the night against me. Me watching that fight back, I have watched it back. It was a very close decision. I felt it could have gone either way. Even watching the fight back, I felt I still couldn't make a decision myself. It was that close. So yeah, I mean, I've took a lot away from that fight.
You go back and watch it and you look at the fight, it went down to the split decision, right? So it could have went either way. And
Yeah.
if you could like point to something that you felt like, man, if I could have like changed that aspect of the fight, that would have probably won me the fight clearly.
There is, yeah. I mean, probably believing in my hands a little bit more because I caught him with some good shots. I should have followed them up with more shots. I cracked him the backhand and I didn't follow it up enough. I think I could have done more of that. I could have boxed him a little bit more. Maybe I give him a little bit too much respect in his striking because obviously he's got some amazing knockouts. Spinning wheel kick, and he's got some hard hands. So maybe I give him a little bit of respect in the stand up side of things. So I could have followed up my shots a little bit more in the boxing.
And most likely you're going to take that lesson and use it in this one coming up, right? Being able to use your hands a little bit more.
100%. I'm going to take that confidence, and I'm going to take it to this fight.
Yeah, because when you look at the striking of Lando compared to Amirkhani, it's levels different, man. So if you go in there and hang with him,
Yeah,
it's like you said, there's confidence heading into this one.
there is a lot of confidence heading into this fight.
Now, it's been almost 10 months, man. It flies by so fast between fights. What has delayed a quicker return to the octagon?
So after I fought Lando, I had to have an elbow operation. It wasn't straight away because I thought it was okay. I thought I just torn some ligaments or something in the fight, but it wasn't. So I tried to train back. I tried to go back straight back to training, and then after a couple of months of training, it was never getting better. I was rehabbing it, for ligament damage and stuff like that, but it wasn't ligament damage. I had a problem with my elbow that needed operating on, so I had it operated on. That was another 12 weeks. So it was like, that's just what happened. Really, it was the operation that kept me off.
And how was the recovery after the surgery?
Yeah, it's good. Now it's fine. I just couldn't straighten after probably a couple of months after I fought Lando. I couldn't straighten my arm for a good while. But I can straighten my arm now fully, and the operation went fine. Everything was good.
Besides, having an apartment in Liverpool and being able to train, and recover, what else have you changed in your camp?
No, not much else. I'm still with the same team. I've had the chance to do a lot more pads with my coach Colin Aaron this time, whereas I didn't get the chance on other times. But this time I've had a lot of time to do with my coach, and I think he's developed my game a lot, to be honest, over this camp. That one-to-one attention from somebody like Colin Aaron, who's the best in the business in my eyes, is valuable, very valuable. So that gains a lot of confidence too.
For someone that does not fight, for the fans, maybe watching this, how important is that for a fighter to be able to have those extra sessions on the mitts, focus pads and all that?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, so when Colin says something, so if he says, "Yeah, you done good pads today," it really means something, because the guy is very hard to please, and he's if he says something, he really means it, and you know that. So yeah, my confidence is sky high at the moment, because he's saying I'm doing really well on the pads. He's saying boxing really well, so I'm happy with that. Yeah, it means everything. Taking that confidence. Sometimes that's all it needs. He just needs somebody who means something to you, who has a bit of authority to say, "Yeah, you done good there." And sometimes that's all it needs as an athlete, to just change your striking style, or change something about your technique. And that's what it's done for me this camp.
You're sitting on, back-to-back decision losses, and usually you don't go to the decision too much. Your first fight in the UFC, you didn't go to decision at all. What do you see in this fight? Do you feel like you're gonna have to go hard 3 rounds, or do you feel it's gonna be one of those where it's gonna be over by the second?
I don't think it's going to be over by the second. Makwan's experienced. He's been in there a lot, but I don't feel it's going to go all 3 rounds. I'm confident I'm going to finish him in the first 2, really, to be honest.
All right.
Just depends if I can keep up with my pace.
All right. It's all about the pace, right? The pressure.
Yeah. Always with the pace.
Yeah. Now, a few more questions, man, before I let you go. MMA fans, right? They are some of the wildest people on this planet. What do you think MMA fans obsess about too much that fighters really don't care about?
That's a tough question. What do they obsess about?
Yeah.
Too much.
Like, for example, some people say, like, fans, they obsess about too much about, like, how much fighters get paid. Like other fighters get paid, right? And usually fighters are just focused on how much they're getting paid, not like what someone else is getting paid.
Yeah, I understand that. It's that good, and obviously about fighters getting paid, that they do concentrate on that a lot. But I can't give another example really from what you're saying, but definitely that one. Fighters. Now you make the example, but that's the biggest one, I'd say.
All right. PTSD in combat sports, not CTE, but PTSD from like an injury or, you know, a bad weight cut, maybe damage taken in a fight, or even a loss. You know, sometimes fighters have tough losses. Have you ever experienced this and overcome it, or seen it in other fighters around you?
I've never dealt with anything like that. No, I'm fine in that department, but no, I've probably never seen it really in fighters. I think what it is though with fighters, they don't really like to talk about it. That's the problem. You know, they won't really say too much about it. But I've not really seen it too much. No,
Do you think it's important that fighters talk about it if they do have any form of that?
I do. Yeah, if I had that problem and I had any problem, then I would say most definitely you need to talk to people who you trust and people who you're confident in talking to, because yeah, you shouldn't bottle anything like that up. You know, it's a tough sport, and you know there's a lot of pressure that comes with it, and you know, and fans put a lot of pressure on us too. You know, we're going out there to fight, we're going out there to earn money, we're going out there to perform for these guys. But you know, I think yeah, definitely you would talk about it. You should talk about it.
Yeah, definitely. One last question. Crypto, right? Kevin Lee, he got signed by Eagle FC and he is getting paid in crypto.
All right.
What is your take on crypto, and would you ever consider being paid your fight purse in cryptocurrency?
See, I don't know too much about it all, but funny you say it now. I got a sponsor last week it was, sorry, and they paid me through a crypto account. I didn't have a clue. It took me like 5 days to get it out of the crypto account to go into my bank. So, but I don't fully know too much about it. I mean, can you explain any more about it, the crypto? So crypto's like a currency, is it?
Yeah, it's just you know, basically
Is that right?
online currency, right? Just something that
Yeah,
appreciates and depreciates just like anything else, right?
yeah, yeah. So obviously it can go up and down. Is that
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
I mean,
So you pulled
so
it out right away once you got it?
I put most of it out, and
Okay.
then I put a little bit into Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Yeah. Ethereum. Yeah.
I put it into them just to see, just to play about with it. But now it's getting me. Now I am starting to play about with it a little bit and see how it's working.
Okay.
I need to know more. Do you know much about it?
No, I don't know too much about it. That's why I'm asking people about it.
But yeah, it's and he got paid in that. He got paid
Hmm.
through that as well for his
Yeah.
fight, though.
Yeah, he will be his upcoming fight.
Right.
Hmm.
So maybe he's just going to invest it all into like Bitcoin or something like that.
Yeah,
Oh,
most likely. Or he's getting paid in Bitcoin.
yeah. All right. Yeah. Maybe. Okay. And then obviously, yeah, you need the currency to invest in things like NFTs and things like that.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen Darren Till's one?
Not
The
yet.
block asset is like NFTs, online art, like
Hmm.
athlete art, and that are all into it as well. But like I say, it blows my mind, to be honest.
Have you looked into NFTs? Maybe getting a couple of yourself?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, obviously because Darren Till he's with the block asset, so I've looked a little bit into that and to see how it looks. But like I said, I'm still struggling. I'm still trying to get my head around it. But it's interesting. It's interesting, and I think it's the way the world's going to go soon.
Yeah, it is. It is. It looks like it. It looks like it's gonna go towards that way, you know. And you got kids, so maybe you might have to tell your kids to study it, so they could teach you.
Yeah, definitely, they'll be better than me. But
Exactly.
like the younger ones in the future, that's the way it's going to go. I think.
Yeah, yeah. They're gonna be teaching us, you know, like when we were young and we were teaching our parents about certain things. They're gonna teach you about cryptocurrency and all that,
Yeah.
for sure. Um, Mike, March 19th, man, UFC London. Like I said, you don't have to hop on a plane. Just take a nice little drive, and you'll be fighting. Thank you so much, man, for the time. Good luck on the rest of the camp.
Thanks very much, mate. Appreciate it.